All right, here we are back again on the Sort of Sports podcast. Now on to episode 46. And I mentioned last time, I don't know if I'll do something big for the 50th episode. Maybe that'll be the Quentin Tarantino ranking episode. Actually, I don't know. Because at this point, I'm kind of thinking I was going to rank all the Quentin Tarantino movies. I think I'm going to probably watch them around June. Because I know once I watch one, I'm just going to run through them all. And I don't really know if that's going to fit my schedule in the month of May. I'm thinking between well, I think we should talk about something really serious now, folks. I didn't think I'd be talking about this at the beginning of the pod, but here we are. Okay, okay. So, you know, today's Wednesday, April 26th, 2023. We're a day before the NFL draft. Tonight, the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Milwaukee Bucks both play basketball. If both of them lose, episode 47 will most likely be the saddest podcast in the history of this pod. Even if the Bucks win tonight and they lose the series, we will. If the Cavs or Bucks, if neither of them come back from this 3-1 lead, we are getting a 3-1 deficit, is what I should say. I'm trying to keep together. Yeah, if I don't want to talk about it, but let's just hope that doesn't happen, because I think that it really truly will be the most somber episode in the history of this pod, and it's going to outbeat what's currently what I consider the most sad episode and most somber episode in the history of the pod, and that is the classic episode entitled "Dang," episode 22. So it's been over a year since that episode came out. We've been a really hot streak of not having sad episodes, and we could be in for a really rough one. So, I really hope it's not the case. I really believe in the Bucks. I believe in my Giannis. I believe in my Cavs, but I believe in Giannis a lot more than I do the Cavs right now. I think Bickerstaff might get fired if we lose. I don't want to think about any of that. I've been a big Bickerstaff guy this whole way, and I don't want to think about any of this. So we're not going to talk about it. Not talking about NBA today. Okay. Because today is a day before the NFL draft, and I'm like, I think I'm 100% sure. I was just telling my girlfriend, G, thank you again for helping me write out my mock draft. I know she's going to listen to this, so thank you for that. I told her, I was like, this is probably the most important NFL draft of my entire life, because the Panthers have the number one pick, and if they choose correctly, I'm going to have a great – it's going to change my life completely, because if they choose the guy who I think they're going to choose and he pans out, that will honestly be a life-changing event for me, because the next 10 years, maybe 15 years of my Panthers fandom will be forever changed by this night, good or bad. If they choose the guy I think we're going to choose, and then he doesn't work out, just more years of pain as a Panthers fan. More years of pain. I am on record, though, watching the Cavs the other day. I don't like to think about watching the Cavs lately, but I was watching them as we were playing badly against the Knicks, and I said, well, the nice thing about the Panthers is they do nothing but disappoint me. They don't even try to get my hopes up. So the Cavs, they get my hopes up, and then they get whapped around by Jalen Brunson. Okay. Focusing up. All right. So this episode, the main portion of this, I'm just going to title it the mock draft episode. That's all this episode's about, because the NFL draft is tomorrow night. I am stoked, like absolutely stoked. It is a really good thing that, this may have a chance to bring me out of the dumps, because the Panthers do have the number one pick. We obviously traded for it. I'm super excited. I know some people are like, oh, they really made a move for the number one pick, and the quarterbacks aren't even good this year. Well, shut up, all right? This is my moment, dang it. All right? Quit trying to downplay it for me. Very excited for this. Very excited for my Panthers. And I'm really excited for Frank Reich and the staff he's put together. Really looking forward to this draft. It is like a monumentous occasion. Everybody knows I love a good NBA draft. I love the NFL draft. But this year is the biggest draft in my history of being a Panthers fan. We had the number one pick. I played Madden 11. That's all I did when we got Cam Newton. Actually, yeah, that'd have been no. Yes, that would have been right. I played Madden 11 when I was younger. That was my only concept of the NFL. Last time the Panthers had the number 1 pick in the draft. So I'm saying it's been 12 years since then. We took my boy Cam Newton, who ended up making me a Panthers fan. When he won MVP in 2015, that is the season that made me a Panthers fan. I didn't really have a favorite team before that. Like, I kind of thought Browns, kind of thought Steelers. Thought Cowboys for a bit. I don't know what happened. I think I had a brain tumor. So, moral of the story is, this is a monumentous occasion. And it's tomorrow night. I'm super excited. I'll be watching it. And it's really weird for me because usually in the draft, I'm looking forward to the top couple picks and where the big quarterbacks are going to go. And then I'm watching that Panthers pick. Well, this year, we are the top pick, and we're going to take a quarterback. Like, it's all my excitement is built into the first pick. Like, after that, it's just a fall off of excitement. Like, nothing against the other picks, but it's like the night matters to me about this one pick, as my entire night is built off this pick. That's what I'm excited for, is this pick. So, whew. Really looking forward to it. And while I prefer the NBA draft over the NFL, I'm still very excited. And it's time to get into my official mock draft. Now, I wrote out all 31 picks because, the Dolphins picks taken away. If you don't know about that, it's with Brady, and he thought he was going to leave for the Dolphins, and they were tampering. It's a whole mess. If you want to look more into that, you should look that up. But so I got 31 picks picked out, but I'm just going to do the top 12 here on the pod. With the NBA, I'm pretty confident about my whole set of picks. With the NFL, I do have once I get out of like the top, I'd say like 10 to 15, I'm just kind of grasping at straws for who I think teams could pick. I mean, I can't tell you whether the Buccaneers like Kaliha Kancey, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, or if the Buccaneers really like Quentin Johnson, or if the Buccaneers want Bijan Robinson. I have no clue. I don't. I'm not as strong as predicting the NFLs and the NBA. Usually I got a lot. I'm a better scout for the NBA. I mean, you guys know I don't even attempt to do an MLB mock draft. So, NFL, I'm just going to do the top 15. I've never done my own NFL mock draft episode. This is always tossed into the big salad. This is a big occasion when you think about it. Let's hope it's not followed up by the most sad podcast ever. Let's hope it's going to be it's like a funeral for my NBA season. It's still a Hood Classic playoffs. I just got to say, the playoffs have been amazing. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to accept the fact that I'm just rooting for the Kings and Jokic but we're done talking about the NBA. Focusing up on the NFL draft. It's my official mock draft for the 2023 NFL draft. Here we go. With the first pick, Roger Goodell's going to walk out, get booed. And he's going to read off that the Carolina Panthers select Bryce Young from Alabama University. Between the whole test scores thing and Stroud scoring an 18, that is so low, it's like laughable. Like, I think if he scored anything above like a 50, they'd be like, yeah, it's weird, but whatever. He scored so low, I think Reich and them, Josh McCown's our quarterback coach. He's obviously, these guys, Frank Reich is an offensive-minded guy. He's going to want a smart quarterback. And I'm going to be honest, there's a part of me that's terrified. I mean, I've talked about it before on the pod. I was terrified of Bryce Young being the next Kyler Murray. I'm not a huge Kyler Murray guy. I kind of used to be, and then the more and more I watched him, more and more I'm like, oh, he's not as good as he was in college. He's undersized. I don't really like his decision-making as much. And Bryce Young scares me. I think, he's very similarly built to Kyler Murray, similar play styles, and I'm worried he's just Kyler Murray 2.0. And I don't want that. I don't want the next Kyler Murray. It's really not a goal of mine. So I am very scared by that, but out of the three other prospects, C.J. Stroud, I was never high on. I just kind of had to mentally accept the fact we're taking him, even though I was, I think everybody on this podcast knows I'm not an Ohio State guy. Go Colorado. Buffalo. Yeah, it was a couple days ago. We had the most attended spring game ever, and it was wild. Been loving that. A bunch of guys been transferring to Colorado. It's great stuff. Go Buffs. My boy, Deion Sanders, Coach Prime. So everybody knows I'm not big on Stroud, so I'm really glad the Panthers aren't taking him. I really like Anthony Richardson. No matter where he goes, I'm going to keep an eye on him. But, there's a chance Anthony Richardson becomes Josh Allen, and then there's a chance he's Jamarcus Russell. And I get why when you're the Panthers you're afraid of that. Maybe the Panthers are looking at Richardson. Maybe they really like him. They see the physical talent. But it is such a risk. I don't know if we're going to take that. At the number 1 pick, I think that if they traded up, they were probably looking at Stroud and Young. And then Frank Reich came out yesterday and said, we know who we're taking, and I'm willing to bet it's Bryce Young. So I'm not a big Will Levis guy either. I think he's just Zach Wilson, but without the funny stories about the MILFs. I don't know if does anyone know if that's legit? Like, everybody knows about the Zach Wilson, MILF hunter thing, but is that like a real? I don't know. That's funny stuff. So yeah, the Panthers will be taking Bryce Young. I'm incredibly excited. I really hope it pans out. I'm looking for us to win the division this year. Like, that is my expectation. That is not like me hoping. Like, that is what I expect from this team. Between the Miles Sanders signing, the Adam Thielen signing, drafting him, I'm expecting we're going to have a very sexy draft. Like, talking drafting, wide receivers, running backs, corner, like sexy positions. And I love J.C. Horn. We kept Brian Burns. Like, I think Frank Reich is not in a rebuild mindset. I think he's like, no, we've been rebuilding. Now we're getting the final touches to be a competitive team. At least that's the way it looks from a spending-wise. We're going to be the Pittsburgh Pirates of football, baby. More on that later. I gotta mention my Pirates for this pod's over. I've been loving that. So yeah, Bryce Young, number 1 pick to the Panthers. It's my prediction. Number 2 pick, I got C.J. Stroud going to the Houston Texans. I think the Texans could take Levis here. I think a lot of people think that's going to go on. Personally, I think they like Stroud, especially at the 12 pick. They can get somebody to pair of Stroud. We'll get to that later. There's obviously a lot of things to like about Stroud. Personally, I just don't think he has the highest ceiling. I know some people are really high on him. I am not. I don't really like his personality that much. I think he's kind of... In my mind, I compare him to Justin Fields, and I don't think he's anywhere near as likable or good as Fields. And I know likability is not a big thing with quarterbacks. But I just love Justin Fields, and in my mind, I'm just comparing him to him, and I'm like, yeah, you're no Justin Fields. So, I don't think... If I'm the Texans, I get why I do this move. I completely get why you do this. It makes sense, but I don't think he'll do well there, to be perfectly honest. I mean, maybe I can be wrong, but we'll see. I think Bryce Young's going to kill it on the Panthers, but that's just me being a hopeful Panthers fan. So, yeah, C.J. Stroud to the Texans. Coming in at the 3 pick, the Cardinals, I don't think they're going to trade. I think they're going to keep this pick, and they're going to take Will Anderson Jr., getting them a nice edge rusher. I think when you're the Cardinals right now, you're like, okay, well, when Kyler comes back, if he performs well, this is our franchise. All right, we're going to compete with this setup until Kyler, until we move on from Kyler. This is our franchise. And I think Will Anderson Jr. is a great piece, might be the most talented player in the draft. Getting him at the 3 spot is really nice. I mean, it's kind of like when Chase Young was drafted back in 2020. You're getting an excellent defensive player. It's really nice when you're the Cardinals. We're kind of like Myles Garrett almost. I don't want to compare him to Myles Garrett because it's a huge comparison. But I'm saying the Browns took him number 1, and that was a good pick from them instead of taking Mitch Trubisky. All right, 4 pick, the Colts. I think they're going to take Will Levis. I can just see him on the Colts. I'm going to be real honest with you. The Colts want a QB. They're desperate. They don't trust Anthony Richardson, I bet. Levis is the other pro guy. Pro-ready guy. Like, these are the big 4. I think they probably like Levis. He's from Kentucky. He's used to wearing blue. I mean, I don't have excellent reasoning here. I'm not a big Levis guy. I don't really think he'll pan out that well. But I think that's what they're going to do. So that's my prediction. I'm not exactly proud of them. It's just what I predicted. Now, 5 is the Seahawks, the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks are in an incredibly interesting position because they got a great pick here. And Geno, they now have locked up. Not locked up, but he's on a 2-year deal. I think they are in a prime position to take Anthony Richardson because when you're them, you can draft him. You're obviously using a very high pick that you can get a different, very talented player from. But to me, it makes sense because when you're them, you know that you kind of want to have Richardson behind somebody to, get some practice underneath his belt. And you have Geno Smith, who's been doing very well for you. And when Geno's done, you shift him into the lineup, and hopefully Anthony Richardson has showed some sign of being your next franchise guy. And you could have, like, an incredibly athletic, I like Richardson. He's a very high ceiling, and I think that's really attractive when you're the Seahawks. So I really think the Seahawks might do this. Oh, this isn't the Rams pick. Sorry, this is their pick from Denver. My apologies. That's on me. So Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I could see them taking Jalen Carter. I could see it. But honestly, yeah, I feel like they're going to take Richardson. I just think it makes sense. I think they're one of the best setup teams to take him. Honestly, that is my personal opinion. Like, I mean, the Titans could try to get him at 11. Think there's maybe I don't think the Vikings are going to try to get a quarterback this year. The Bucks can maybe make a move. I think the Bucks are going to. This is just my shot in the dark. I'm not going to make a second round prediction or anything. I think the Bucks will take Hendon Hooker in the second or third round. I think that will happen. That is just tossing that out there. I think it's what the Buccaneers are doing. So 5, though, I think the Seahawks are going to take Anthony Richardson. I think it's the best fit out of the teams that I could see taking quarterback. And I think that would really work for him. 6 is the Detroit Lions. I see them taking Tyree Wilson. He's an edge rusher from Texas Tech. I think, when you're Dan Campbell, you're probably looking at Jalen Carter, but Dan Campbell's such a big locker room guy. I don't think he's going to like that. You're adding another scary piece alongside Aiden Hutchinson. You're just building up a scary defense because offensively, I think you're kind of set when you're the Lions, right? I mean, you got DeAndre Swift, you got Jared Goff, you got Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jamison Williams did just get in some major trouble for gambling from the Lions practice facility, so I don't think that he is, playing. No, he's suspended for the year, and so that's obviously an issue. But other than that, I think the Lions right now are looking to be in the playoffs next year and maybe win their division. The division's kind of wide open right now, so I don't think anyone's incredibly high on the Vikings. I know I'm not, so I think you just add a scary defense there by getting Tyree Wilson. All right, 7 pick, the Raiders. Classic Raiders fashion. I had to pick something weird because I'm like, okay, I don't really know exactly. I don't know what, Raiders are not very good at drafting. It's just kind of what happens a lot. And they're not going to take a quarterback. They got Jimmy G. And so I decided to have them take Osiris Torrance from Florida. He's an offensive guard. He's not really projected to go super high. Like, he's projected to be a first rounder, but most outlets don't have him in the top 10. But to me, it makes sense because I could just see the Raiders doing something weird. So that's really my only reasoning here, is that I just see the Raiders doing something kind of weird that no one expects. So that's why I have them doing that. Also, this NFL mock draft I just glanced at, Will Anderson Jr., they had him going 2, and they have Will Levis going to the Texans at 12. I could see them doing something like that, but I think they're scared and they're going to take a quarterback early. And I think they like Stroud. That's just I'm taking shots in the dark here. The Texans like Stroud. All right. Let's move on to the 8 pick, which is the Falcons. I know there's a little bit of chat, like maybe they might take a quarterback. I don't think they will. I think they're trying Ritter. And because of that, I think they're taking Christian Gonzalez. That is my official pick. He's from Oregon, cornerback. I just think that makes sense. I could see them doing something like that. And let me check something. I have a pick I actually want to change. I'm looking at it. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. I'll get to when I get here. That's fine. Yep. All right. Sorry. I had to think about something in my head. Okay. I think it makes sense. They drafted offensively the last 2 drafts. They're going to get a defensive player here, Christian Gonzalez. He also just looks like a Falcons player. I don't know if that makes sense. He just looks like a guy that played for the Falcons. So that's why I'm going with 8. 9, the Bears. I got them getting Jalen Carter. I think they're very happy to get this potential top 5 talent. Obviously, there's a lot of issues going on with him. But, when you're the Bears, it's a really nice pick at 9. And I think they're probably very happy with that. So that's why I have them taken. 10. Originally, I had the Eagles taking Devin Witherspoon, who's a senior Illinois corner. He's really good. But I'm going to change, and I'm going to have them take Bijan Robinson. Because the more and more I think about it, the more and more it makes sense. They let Miles Sanders go, and then they draft Bijan Robinson, who's an incredibly talented running back. And I know, people don't usually like to take running backs in the first round. It's like a big no-no. But he's really talented. I think they like him. So I don't think it matters. And plus, you're the Eagles. Like, what do you really get to lose? I mean, you're a really good team. So, I don't think they're really that worried about it. I think they're like, okay, well, cool. Let me just change up something real quick. I need to throw in. I got to mix things up because I had the Eagles taking Nolan Smith. So I just got to figure out who I think would rather take Nolan Smith. Okay. All right, that's fine. Okay, here we go. Back to where we were. So I think it makes sense. Bijan Robinson would be excellent in that Eagles offense. That'd be scary, and I think it makes really a lot of sense. So, all right. 11. This means I'm going to give the Titans Devin Witherspoon. I originally had them taking Nolan Smith, but I think that makes sense for them to get Devin Witherspoon. Good corner there. That'd be good for their defense. The Titans need anything they can get. Last pick I'm predicting, the Texans. I have them taking Jackson Smith and Jigba. They're going to pair C.J. Stroud with his wide receiver from college. Makes a lot of sense. They're trying to do like a Bengals, Burrow, Chase thing. I think the Texans would be very happy of drafting that way. I don't blame them. I think it's a good draft. All right, so those are my picks. Yeah, so I am very excited because, like I said, it's a super important draft for me personally. And, really looking forward to it because Panthers, I think, are going to have a quarterback of the future. And I really hope Bryce Young pans out. I'm obviously going to be all over all his stuff. That sounds weird. I'm going to be all over, what's going on with him and how he's looking this offseason because I'm really excited. I'm really excited to get a player that talented in the organization. So, yeah. I don't know what else to say. I'm just very hyped up. And I think that's it. I think that's all I have to say about the NFL draft. I'm super excited for Bryce Young. And, if he plays well, I'll probably have his jersey by Christmas. That'll probably be my plan. So I really hope he plays well. I know we're getting some slightly different blue jerseys. Hopefully those look good. That's my hope. I don't know. It's like slightly different blue, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but, whatever. So that is my official mock draft. Panthers #1, take Bryce Young. Like I said, super hype. And I really hope it works out. I'm happier with that than I was with Stroud. All right, last little thing. Just want to touch on the MLB. Season's starting up. I said those Rays were going to be good. I was right. They're 20-3. My boys. Love it. You love to see it. Love the Rays. My dogs. I tweeted out recently that I think I'm transitioning from a pseudo-Mets fan to a pseudo-Rangers fan. That is very true. And ever since then, the Rangers have yet to win a game. So I think it's my fault. I'm sorry to any Rangers fans. The real thing I got to talk about are my boys, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Oh, man. I think a second or third MLB game I ever went to in my life was a Pittsburgh Pirates game. And I love their stadium. It's one of the best stadium. Sounds weird. I love their ballpark. That's what I should say. I love their ballpark. It's one of the, it's ranked usually one of the best in the league. I love what they got going on. I love Andrew McCutchen, and I'm really glad he's back there. They just extended Brian Reynolds to a huge contract. Really happy for him. And I just like what the team's got going on. They've been winning games. Right now they're in the lead in the NL Central. And I'm like, if the Pirates are like this year's team that just comes out of nowhere to be really good, I will really root for them because, I love the Pirates gear. I think they do the black and yellow the best out of any Pittsburgh team. I know Quinn's going to get mad at me because that's his things the Steelers do, but I'm going to be honest, that Pirates stuff is sick. It looks so good. And I just ordered my Pirates hat. I haven't had one in my MLB hat collection, so I just ordered one, along with the Diamondbacks City Connect because I like the Diamondbacks City Connect stuff. I like the tan, so I decided to go with that. But D-backs haven't been doing bad either, but those two teams have been really the big surprises with the D-backs and the Pirates. I really love the Pirates being good. I hope they stay good. So it would be so much fun for them to be like a really good team this year, and I would love to see them be kind of like, I'd say like the Orioles from last year, except they're in a worse division, so they'll probably make the playoffs, which is really exciting. And then you know how that is. You break through one year, and then you get better next year, and you just keep adding on and adding on and adding on. I know their manager just got extension. I hope, their owner is ready to spend some big money. I mean, he obviously just gave a really big contract to Brian Reynolds. I like Reynolds a lot, very talented player. They have Brian Hayes on a decent contract. I think O'Neal Cruz will probably be getting an extension relatively soon. Right now, he's injured. Pitching-wise, a lot of guys I can't even really name you, but they're pitching well, and that's impressive. And, I hope for them to have a big offseason, but honestly, I should enjoy this season right now, and I'm saying maybe at the deadline the Pirates will be buyers? Like, that would be sweet. I would lose my mind. So I'm just eating up the Pirates being good. I love their gear, some of the best in the MLB. That's that script Pittsburgh on the black uniform. Mwah, it is beautiful. And their white uniforms are nice. I'll probably go down to a Pittsburgh Pirates game some point this year, probably like May or June. I'll probably go up to a Cleveland game too. But out of the three teams close to me, the Reds are my least favorite. And Pirates are, I can't decide. I mean, in the past, I've been kind of big on Cleveland, but I will admit, when the Pirates are good, I'm loving it. And it's been a long time since the Pirates are any good, and I'm really enjoying watching them be good. So, it's kind of my new favorite team to follow right now. Obviously, if, like I said, gun to my head, had to pick a favorite team, it would be the Padres. And for those of you who still haven't turned the podcast off and you find it interesting just me rambling about which team I like best, I really appreciate it because these are conversations that I truly have just for me. And the fact that you enjoy listening to it means a lot to me. It's kind of like Denis Villeneuve once said about some movie he made. I can't remember what movie. But he goes, I made this movie for one person in the audience, me. And his point is when you make art, you got to make it for yourself. And he's like, it doesn't matter. You shouldn't make it for other people. And I think the last 2 minutes of this podcast really encapsulated that. That sounded really pretentious, and I didn't mean for it to. That's my bad. So, the Pirates are good. You should watch some Pirates games because they're really fun, and I'm eating it up, and I'm going to go to a game. I'm going to get my hat in. I'm really excited, and McCutcheon's back, and it's awesome. So, the whole thing with the Pirates is sweet. And the Panthers got the number 1 pick in the draft, and Bryce Young is going to go on to win us a Super Bowl. That's my hope. That is what I want. That is what I dream. I dream of us making the playoffs next year, being a top team in the league, and everybody's like, man, the Panthers, they drafted so well. Bryce Young's so good. That is my hope in life. Really hope that goes on. We're not talking about the NBA for the rest of the podcast, and you better hope that the Bucks get a big win tonight and that they come back from 3-1 because I don't think my Cavs are going to. And if the Bucks don't, we're going to get a really sad episode of the pod, and it'll be before the NFL draft reactions. Like the next episode, if the Bucks go into a 7-game series and lose, the NFL draft reactions, odds are, will not be until after this Bucks series ends. I think that's what I'm going to do. Unless something really goes on wild with the draft and we draft Will Levis number 1 and I have to just come on here and vent. But I really think we're taking Bryce Young, and I trust Frank Reich, and I like the staff he put together. Oh, I forgot to mention, Aaron Rodgers was traded, and I think everybody who listens to this podcast know I don't really think Aaron Rodgers is all that. I think he's very good, but I don't think he's as good as like Mahomes, Herbert, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. He's not. He's like the next level below that. So it's really a shame because I've kind of liked the Jets for a bit. Like, I love Sauce Gardner, and I liked what the Jets got going on. I'm like, well, dang it. Now I don't really like you guys anymore because I'm not a big Rodgers guy. So it's really disappointing for me. Rodgers kind of ruined a fun team that I enjoyed watching. So, dang it, Aaron. Why'd you have to do that? All right, that's it. So, go Pirates. It's really weird for me to say that on a podcast. And thank you again, G, for helping me fill out my NFL mock draft. Really appreciate it. And that's it. See you on the next one. Hopefully, it's not one that involves me crying. Crying in, like, a bad way. Like, not crying like I'm really happy that we got Bryce Young. Because I don't think I'm going to cry tears of joy over that. I got to think. No. If I'm crying next podcast, it's because I'm sad. I just want to make sure you realize this. Like, I wouldn't be crying tears of happiness if the Bucks came down from being 3-1, because we shouldn't have been down 3-1 anyway, boys. We need to come on. The Heat are good, and playoff Jimmy is different. But I know I said I wasn't talking about it. I know. I said I wasn't talking about it. I'm arguing with myself. It's quite embarrassing. Go Pirates, go Panthers. The PP doing well. I shouldn't have said that. Okay, next one. See you in the next one.